Go, Christian. All right. All right, we got 2:30 on the clock here, so I will call our committee of the whole, regular committee of the whole meeting for May 20th to order. I'd like to acknowledge that we're holding this meeting on the territorial lands of the Tla'amin Nation, who have stewarded this land for thousands of years. Start with the adoption of our agenda. Is any edits? Seeing none. And moved by Councillor Southcott. All in favor of the agenda? That carries unanimously. Motion for going to a closed meeting. Someone wants to take the reins? To do?
The committee made a closed meeting to discuss matters covered by the community charter under sections 91. That they receive advice that is subject to sister-client privilege, including occasions necessary for that purpose.
Thank you. And all in favor? That is unanimous. public input period, but the public input period is designated for matters of legislative matters, committee recommendations, or new business, of which we have none today. So we get to skip over the public input and get to the fun stuff of our delegations. So we have 7.1, our delegation of Jan Slakov and Meghan Hildebrand, who has let us know she's ill, and they are coming up regarding cigarette butt disposal units at the city wharf and by the ferry terminal. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you.
You can just bring the mic down to your mouth a little bit closer. Perfect.
So yeah, I'm really sorry that Meghan couldn't be with me today. She's an artist and author who I know also cares deeply about protecting this earth for now and future generations. I'm Jan Slakov, and I'm currently president, actually, of the qathet Climate Alliance. And I'll start with what we're asking for. First, that councillors direct staff to install a cigarette disposal unit at the city dock near the ferry terminal. And also to bring forward a motion to the Union of BC Municipalities to reintroduce the idea of a province-wide cigarette deposit return system. So the Physicians for Smoke-Free Canada have stated that for several years, they promoted the use of deposit return systems at provincial levels to address cigarette waste. In 2016, the UCBM called for such a system, but the then provincial government rejected that idea. So I think if you keep coming back, hopefully they'll finally do it. And also, it would be great to have a public education on this issue and we would be willing to help other local organizations, I'm sure, as well. In 2023, after moving to Texada, I began regularly using the ferry terminal, and I noticed that there's lots of cigarette butts littering the city dock right near the terminal, which stands to reason. You're not allowed to smoke on ferry property, so people go to the city dock. And I began picking up those butts, but it's pretty disgusting. And of course, I can't pick them all up. So I reached out to city staff in 2023 initially and asked for a designated cigarette disposal unit at the dock. And some responses have been encouraging, but, and one concern cited was the potential for vandalism, but there are vandal resistant units you can see online. And in the end, nothing was done. I was told the Parks Department would do it, and I tried to meet with the head of the Parks the unit, and I also wrote emails. And since nothing was happening, I put a coffee can with a sign as a temporary disposal bin. And then at the end of the summer, someone removed that. So this year, I'm really hoping we'll put something out in time for the tourist season, which really is already underway. Why does this matter? Cigarette butts are toxic, they're not biodegradable, and they're a major threat to marine ecosystems. The World Health Organization reports that 30 to 40% of urban and beach litter consists of cigarette filters. And these filters leach over 7,000 chemicals, at least 50 of which are known carcinogens, into the environment. According to a study by the San Diego University, just one cigarette butt per liter of water can kill half of the fish exposed. And importantly, filters do not make smoking safer. In fact, the World Health Organization notes that filters may increase addiction while simply shifting the burden from smokers to the environment. So the next step, I would really appreciate a response indicating whether council intends to act on these requests. And I'm happy to provide more information and to help find other partners who could work with you on this. And I added a couple links, and I just wonder if there are any questions. I do have a couple signs I brought to show, oh, they are here, yeah. So one is, when I sent out an email about making this presentation, one of my friends contacted another friend who just had taken a picture of a disposal unit in Victoria. And on the unit, it says, cigarette butts are the most littered item in the world. Thank you for keeping toxins out of our waterways and oceans. And this is the sign I made to go with my can last year. I don't know if any of you saw it down at the Wharf. I just wrote a little poem to try and make light of it, but it really, obviously, if a butt is on that wharf, it's bound to end up in the ocean.
Thank you, Jan. I'll just remind the committee that due to our procedure bylaws, we don't make any decisions based on delegations at the committee of the whole, but we can pass forward thoughts to come to a future meeting and make a decision there. So we have a few questions. I'll pass it over to Councillor Elliott, then Councillor Dow.
So I was just listening to you talk about the cigarette butts and how awful they are and non-biodegradable and so forth. Have you ever heard of any initiatives requiring cigarette companies to make biodegradable cigarette filters?
No, I do know the Canadian Physicians for a Smoke-Free Canada. I'm pretty sure they have called for the filters to just simply be banned since they don't help smokers. And obviously they're a real problem in the environment. But and I did contact way back two women, one from that organization and one from Greenpeace, who had co-authored an article, and they said they had been pushing for that to be included when the government banned plastic straws and other things.
Yeah.
But the government at the time didn't go ahead with that ban. So, yeah.
Okay, so the process for UBCM is generally individual councillors will come forward with motions to our own council to try and get support to bring them forward to UBCM. And so members of the public can work with any particular councillor person to help them bring those forward if they want to, just so you know that. You could approach your friendly councillor, whichever ones you like to work with, and they could try to help you bring forward a UBCM motion for those kinds of things, provided they supported that as well. I think I would support such work being done. We could here at this level ask for staff to put this onto a future agenda and make that choice here, and I would make that motion that we direct staff to bring back a report regarding putting cigarette butt disposal units at our marine facilities at a future agenda.
Thank you. For future agenda notices, do we need a vote on council to be added to the agenda, or? Okay, perfect. So we have a motion regarding adding this topic to the agenda for future meeting. Seeing no other comments on that particular topic, all in favor on the motion? That is unanimous. Councillor Dell, you had a question.
Yeah, although we've already added it to an upcoming agenda, my question was actually to staff. And the first one was, who actually owns the ferry dock? Is it the city? Is it BC Ferries? Is it somebody else? And that's, I had some other questions, but those ones will do for now.
Through the chair to Councillor Dodd, I think depends on what you're referring to when you say the ferry dock, but the city does own property in the vicinity, and so there's a location that this could be included as part of a report, kind of identifying what the city does own and where such of a piece of infrastructure could be added. Thank you.
Councillor Palm.
Thank you to the chair. Just I want to say thank you for bringing this to everyone's attention today. This is something that growing up with cigarettes in my household and a chain smoker, I know exactly what you're talking about. All the good people sitting behind you that are healthy playing pickleball are sure are behind you 100%. So my question is to the manager of Parks and Rec. It was mentioned during the presentation that you had reached out to somebody from our rec, and I'm just wondering if Jamie, who is on our screen, was the contact person, and if he may have anything that he would like to say, because he is now managing our harbors. Manager of Parks, do you have any comment?
Through the chair, I'd be happy to reach out. We've had a fair bit of turnover in our department, and I don't specifically recall myself being involved, but I'd be happy to reach out and collect more information.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was someone named Heather, I think, who I was reaching out to. Yeah.
Councillor Southcott.
I also appreciate you bringing this, John. When I was a paramedic, the training basically is that if there's any chance that infant, like if you come into a situation where an infant may have consumed butts, it takes only 5 to kill an infant. So that really speaks to the toxicity. Of course, anybody older than an infant is probably not going to eat something like that, but infants crawling around eat weird things. And that really made an impression on me. I'm really, really glad I never ran into a situation like that, but it's one of those things you just don't forget. So I can imagine with the evidence that we see of carcasses on beaches that are full of, stomachs and decomposed carcasses full of all sorts of plastic and everything else, I can imagine that a butt would probably look like some little tidbit, and probably lots of them end up in the digestive tracts of animals that end up perishing. So I really appreciate this, and I will be supporting it when it comes to council. Thank you.
Yeah, when I saw that photo of the butt disposal thing in Victoria, I thought just having some of those around with that message about how toxic they are would surely help people realize how important it is to not just leave them there. When I was speaking to one person about this, he said, I always bring a can with me and put my butt in there. So yeah, thanks so much.
Well, the last comment I was going to have, I said, if only if everyone was so considerate. Last night, or sometime yesterday, Meghan let council know that she wasn't going to be here today. I was able to respond to her email, so she actually sent me that picture that you just shared, and I just shared it with everyone on council so that they have it there. But after reading her email, I dug in a little bit more and found that there's a recycling company in Toronto, TerriToRial, that produces those units, but also the recycling is free. The shipping is free to ship the butts back. That's sponsored by a tobacco company. So when we get into further discussions, it'll be interesting to see where it all goes. But yeah, thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Okay.
Moving on. Moving on to 7.2, Delegation Susan Young from the qathet Pickleball Association with an update.
Is that better? Is that good? You can hear me?
You're good.
Great, thank you. Well, thank you for providing time to the qathet Pickleball Association to attend this committee of the whole. It's been 6 months since the following motion was passed on November 19th, 2024. Moved and seconded that the letter from Susan Young dated November 8th, 2024 regarding qathet Pickleball Association's request for a land lease be referred to staff to bring back a report to council regarding a pickleball facility, including the property mentioned and any other city properties. So since that time, I've been inundated with queries about that motion and about the progress on that motion, but I've been unable to provide any kind of specific updates and any specific answers. Now, the QPA is fully aware that the city has gone through some staff turnover and significant staff turnovers over the past little while. And yet, nevertheless, we believe it's time to share what we've been doing since we first last met and what the city staff have been doing, and then perhaps figuring out a way to move forward together and work together on some kind of a plan. But before I share our update, I wanted to bring to your attention some fun and exciting news. The qathet Pickleball Association has teamed up with PADS, or Pacific Assistance Dog Society, and we're going to have a crazy fun fundraiser on July 19th at the Pacific Arena at the complex. It's an all-day event. Everybody's invited. Everyone's invited. There's going to be puppy demonstrations. There's going to be open house pickleball for the community. There's going to be a very fun dinking contest or competition in the afternoon. And we're calling it Dinks and Drinks for Dogs. So please come and join us on July 19th at the Pacific Arena. But in regards to the update, in many ways, the reasons that we first presented on about why we need an indoor pickleball facility have not changed since we presented in November last year. In fact, we believe they've only increased in scope. One of the biggest negative change force that happened was the Paul River Racket Center closed in February 8th. Now, that created a further strain on the pickleball community and exacerbated many of the original issues we reported on last year. When the Racket Center closed, Paul River and qathet lost 4 indoor pickleball courts. Not only did we lose quantity of space, but we lost quality of court space and we lost community space. Regarding the idea of quantity of space and losing that, the QPA has been able to find limited space at Vancouver Island University Touchemount campus, which is great, but it's limited play space. We've also recently gotten play space at Ocean View Gym during the afternoons, but again, limited time space. And these facilities are basically schools first, so we have limitations in how we play there. There's restrictions. There's limited scheduling time. Our playing times at OV will start at June, although I have put in major requests for next fall. I doubt they'll be I guess, resolved or given to us because schools are oversubscribed in terms of community users right now. Quality of space. What's happening for our players is that wherever pickleball is played, there's not enough room between the courts. There's not enough room behind the courts. Balls are running or going into active play, and there is going to be, or there has been, people falling over balls and tripping over it because balls are rolling into active play spaces. The manner in which the courts are set up truly prevent pickleball to be played the way it was meant to be played. People are literally running into walls. And also, there's still no room for youth to play at any of the centers at this point in time. Loss of community space. We find that having that space at the Racket Center, we were able to do a Halloween maze, so fun, exciting. We were able to do really great tournaments and raise money for a local food bank. Coaching for adults has been severely curtailed. There's truly no space for the QPA to provide organized coaching sessions to build and teach on skills in a cohesive and comprehensive manner. Younger players entering the sport. We continue to teach at schools and having a great time doing it, and the children love it. But again, there's no space for youth afterwards.
No.
Overall issues.
Just need to pause you for 1 second. Yep. I don't think this will be a problem, but our procedure bylaw requires me to stop at 5 minutes just to make sure anybody on council's opposed to continuing a little longer with our long agenda today. But I don't think there's any opposition, so please go ahead.
Thank you. Really just 3 issues that we're dealing with due to this missed grant writing opportunities, possible cost increases to building, and not having available space limits what we foresee for the future of pickleball. We see that it's almost impossible for lessons, junior programs, inclusive programs, senior programs, tournaments that would bring participants from other towns to our place. It's amazing. We're asking for constructive, collaborative collaboration with the community to create a concrete movement towards some kind of a dedicated pickleball facility for everyone in Paul River. We're looking pickleball for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Do we have any questions, Mayor Wasner?
Just to so that council and staff have an appreciation. How many people do you think currently have had a pickleball racket in their hand?
We've looked at our numbers and we think there's about 300 players in Paul River. When you look at who played at the Racket Center, who plays at OV, who plays with the Gherkins at VIU, who plays out at Cla'aman, there's about 300 players.
Thank you.
Councillor Dope.
Yeah, and I thank you for coming back. And I understand your request, and it has been a while since council made the motion to ask staff to bring back a report on a pickleball facility. And I just want to give staff, the acting CAO, an opportunity to respond and let us know what the challenges are and when do you see it might be possible to bring back a report on all of the things that go into that. And I'm talking about all the acquisition of the land, the servicing of land, designing and constructing a facility, maintaining it over a period of time. It's not a simple report we're asking for, but I just wonder if you could let us know how progress is going and what you expect from a time frame.
Through the chair to Councillor Dutt, I'm going to start by saying I appreciate Ms. Young's acknowledgement that there has been a tremendous staff turnover over the last little while, and obviously this is a priority for the Pickleball Association and obviously members of council. I am going to call on my colleague, Director Bretzlaff, to speak to the specifics, Councillor Dutt, you're speaking to provide a bit more of an update. So Mr. Bretzlaff, if you're available.
Through the chair. Thank you, Ms. Young, for coming forward and bringing this important community need consistently forward. We really appreciate that. Through the chair, yes, we have had some capacity issues and have not been able to tackle this fulsome report in a meaningful way as of yet. We do recognize that there could be a shorter version of the report that could tackle more simply the challenges and just outline the challenges alone. However, we really hope to move this forward in a more fulsome way and to provide options and opportunities across departments. At this point, we would not have an estimate of when we're able to do that. We've initiated our scoping of the report, but our capacity has truly prevented us from tackling this in a meaningful way to this date.
Thank you, Mr. Bretzlaff. Councillor Isaacson.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, through the chair to the speaker and to the audience. I imagine, it's frustrating. It has been 6 months, and it feels like, you want to know the timeline that you might expect to get a report back so that council can make decisions. And I appreciate as Mr. Gao mentioned, appreciate your how you acknowledge that there has been staff turnover, and it really is, having managers in place who can work with teams to compile that information to make reports possible. And with turnover, it's just going to be delayed. 6 months is actually, for a lot of the reports that council seeks from staff, is not a very long time. It feels like it when you're in the midst of losing your space. But I think to some of the priorities that council has outlined in our list of strategic priorities over almost a year and a half ago, and council has our own priorities that we came into the election wanting to see move forward, and are having to be patient because of turnover at key staff roles. And so I just wanted to acknowledge your frustration, and it's part of the reality of going through some major staff transitions, and I expect that it will take longer, and that doesn't make the waiting any easier. But I know that as myself, I've had to be patient with some of the things that are important to me, and having to pause a little bit, because passing a motion might give an intention of where council wishes to go in the future. It really is staff, given all of their competing priorities, to manage that workload and to tackle things as they come up on their list. So no question for you, but just want to acknowledge your frustration, and also want to acknowledge the hard work of staff in navigating transitions in leadership and going through hiring processes. And it's just things are going to take a while, and that's hard. So I just wanted to acknowledge it, and wanted to thank you for noticing those changes that are impacting the timeline. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Isaacson. Before I get to second round, Councillor Palm.
Yes, thank you, Chair. First of all, thank you for coming forward again, even though it's been 6 months without the answer you were seeking. You have shared, or someone has shared with me, the happenings throughout the province in terms of communities donating land. I think Courtney was referenced, Vernon was referenced, and I know that there was a massive new pickleball facility just built in the Lower Mainland. Can you share some of that information?
Well, I do know that Comox, the city of Comox, has passed a motion that they would be working with the province and with the Comox Pickleball Association, and they're going to be building, they're seeking land, I believe it's provincial land on Pritchard Road, and they will be looking to build a 12-court pickleball, 12-court pickleball court, indoor, and a 6th outdoor pickleball court. So they're working, the great thing about that is they're actually working with the association in order to get it done. So that's fantastic. I also know that just, I guess, north of us in Lund, the Northside Community Center is going to be having 2 pickleball courts added to their upgrade, which is amazing. That's stunning work. Those are the 2 pieces I can think of at this point in time. Yeah.
Sure, and it's just amazing how fast that sport is growing, and
it's huge. It's huge.
And I just will say that this is something that I'm sure council, besides safety of our community, health and fitness is right up there. I can never forget as a youth, collecting pop bottles, walking to the store to buy my pop, and there was a owner of the store that was disabled and because of polio or whatever in his health. And he said to me that day, he said, please enjoy your pop, but remember one thing, health is most important.
Yes. And again, I don't want to harp on this, but for me, the heartbreak here too is the fact that there's truly no space right now, and I don't see any in the foreseeable future, for youth to play any in any pickleball, any extracurricular at time, because our schools are overtaxed. Now, I've asked for space. I'm thinking I'm not going to get it, but we'll see.
Let's conclude by saying we're very lucky, and I'm sure the mayor is going to comment. We have an abundance of land.
Yes.
In the city.
Huge amounts.
Mr. Elliott.
Thank you. So you mentioned when you were talking about your numbers that you had players out in the community of Coahoma. Do they also have any courts out there? They've built a, do they
have one gym?
And
a gym.
And do you play there too? Or?
I've been invited to play. You have to be invited to play.
Oh, okay. But they do have some pickleball going on. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Selcott, then the mayor.
I just realized that I don't know. I've got a question with regard to schools. I guess I'm used to, like a long time ago, whenever you needed space, you went to a school. And I know everything is utilized, all of our resources are utilized so much more fully now than, when I remember, which doesn't seem that long ago to me, but it might have been a bit longer than that. Anyway, if in school gyms, can you use school gyms? I remember playing tennis in school gyms.
Okay, so
volleyball, but the lines and everything, what is it?
So if we were to look at the current school gyms, we've actually provided lessons in a few school gyms, elementary, and they're quite small. For example, we just finished teaching at the Christian school, and we taught, oh gosh, golly, probably 60 children over 2 days in half-hour stints. And we only had space in that school gym for 3 half courts. Now, some of the children were teaching a second time, and they are ready for full-on court usage. Absolutely. But we couldn't do it because it was raining outside, and the gym itself was not large enough. On my understanding, I think there's if I understand correctly, we haven't been there yet, but Westview Gym might be large enough for maybe 2 courts. And Ocean Drew truly, at this point in time, is the only gym that has a 4-court capacity, but there's no space at the back. and there's no space on the sides. There's no space in between, and there's absolutely no division between the courts. So therefore, balls are running or rolling in between active play. So while we have, and I sat down with the interim superintendent a while back, and that's how we got time at Ocean View. And she had in front of her a schematic of booking times for Ocean View. It was completely full to bursting, completely full. So again, I mean, we're doing what we can, but truly the space is not, it's truly not there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Young, the dimensions of the pickleball court, I believe, are the same as a badminton?
They're slightly different. So what we call the non-volley zone, and I'm not sure what the term is for badminton. I think our non-volley zone is a wee bit larger or shorter. Dale?
Well, you're right. Basically the same court. The service line is 6 inches different.
Yeah.
So in regards to schools and available court space, very few courts in Paul River that can accommodate more than one pickleball court in them. VIU, which is the old Gordon Park school, it does have the capacity for 2. Ocean View has 4. Westview School has a couple, 3 I believe actually, and Brooks School also has the capacity for 3. So we played badminton in Brooks. We played badminton in the old Max Cameron gym that's being utilized now as the gym for gymnastics. But Susan's right. Like we're being pressured all around. The schools are not open to allowing us to put on lessons for a fee. Like we have costs as well to put on lessons, and we buy the paddles, we buy the balls, we buy the nets. We provide the free time, and we're not looking to run a business out of the school. We're just trying to recoup costs, and we're getting hassled. Even VIU, that is a teaching facility. I get it; they have their own group that kind of plays there, but they won't allow us to do any. There.
We understand. Yeah.
So
we don't need to be sold. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll pass it over to the mayor.
Yeah. Demand is there, and we need to.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So about a year ago, I was introduced to the board of the Pickleball Association. And
that's right.
Since then, I've had a number of opportunities to meet with both board members and pickleball players who gently accost me on the street and other places, ask how progress has been made. And so what I've done is there's about 20 mayors in the province that we get together on occasion. And so I've used that opportunity to find out how other communities have addressed the fact that pickleball provides fantastic opportunities for 6-year-olds, 90-year-olds, and everybody in between. So this is part of the reason that I put in place this week a standing committee, which is Councillor Palm, Councillor Almeida, Susan Young, and a couple of other individuals. And we're going to offload some of the work on staff and just say, is there a property that would make sense, that would achieve the strategic goals of the city, would allow the Pickleball Association to make it easier to raise money. Maybe there's a few wealthy people around town that would like their name on a pickleball facility. Whatever. I think that I'd like to be sitting here in a year and we've all got an invitation from the Pickleball Association to join them for an opening, because I know I've seen what is available to purchase buildings that have been used for pickleball. They're prefab. I'm an old Alberta boy, so I understand what it means to have a barn building. And I think there are so many people in Powell River who know all about concrete, know all about construction of whatever, I think they would be excited about joining with the Pickleball Association to reduce a lot of the costs of getting the building up. So, yeah, I'm pretty charged about it, and particularly because I've heard the benefit that Vernon and other communities have experienced.
Yes.
All of a sudden, people are coming year round. There's tournaments. There's just the excitement of everybody. I think one of the counselors mentioned the importance of fitness and health.
Yes.
Now you've got a sport that everybody can pick up a racket and go out and play. So thank you very much, and we'll look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Is there any other questions?
It appears that's all of our questions for now, and we will see this topic on a future agenda in the next week or two for further discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Very
Lucille.
much.
Moving into our consent agenda, I will give 30 seconds to vacate the room.
But he's interested in,
Missing the best part.
should actually related to the
Yeah.
We got a motion coming back in a couple of weeks.
schedule.
Council.
I'll just ask during question.
Give me a lesson.
Last during question period, it'll be related to that
It's
item
eight.
we're talking about. Motions, or resolutions to UBC.
In mid-June.
Yeah, there'll be an actual.
There is a deadline. And it's in June. So you're gonna have to do it quick.
That's what I was.
Before we move on to the consent agenda, question for the corporate officer. Councillor Elliott, I'll give you that window right now if you want to ask that question.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, if we're working to put resolutions to UBCM, which committee of the whole agenda do we have to have those draft forwarded to?
Through the chair, the deadline for UBCM resolutions is June 15th.
Yeah.
So they would have to be on the
June 3rd, 2nd, 3rd?
5th council for approval.
Okay.
So it could, you don't necessarily need to bring it to committee of the whole first. If you didn't want to, you could bring it right to council for
Okay.
approval.
So if I wanted them to go through committee of the whole, they'd have to go through the June 3rd committee of the whole, but we don't necessarily have to do that. We could send them straight to June. And so the deadline to have them to staff then would be?
Through the chair, the very latest May 30th, but that's it's the procedure bylaw now says May 26th, so that would be on Monday.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving to 8.1, the consent agenda. Go ahead, Mayor.
Vote on one or prompt motion. Applications appearing in the consent agenda.
A point of privilege, I can't hear the mayor right now.
Sorry. That the May 20th, 2025 consent agenda be adopted.
Okay, and seeing nobody expressing any interest to remove anything, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That passes unanimously. We have nothing else on our agenda other than public clarification. Mr. Galinsky, anything from you? Sounds good. Anyone in the gallery? And Mr. Cian, anything online? Okay, well, that makes our lengthy agenda that much shorter. So that being said, I will call our meeting to